Welcome back to Element 14 Presents. You may notice there's something different. I'm moving. Yeah, things look a bit different around here. And especially my electronics workbench, because I'm getting a completely new one. Let's check that one out. But it's not here, it's in the new workshop. So follow me. Welcome to my new workshop, and this is the workbench we're going to kit out. My new electronics workbench has a few features. First, there's a crank, so you can move it up and down, depending on your preferences and for ergonomics. Then we have this homemade contraption here, which houses an exhaust. So all the solder fumes get sucked away and directly out here through a filter. And also these two outlets are remote controlled with the same remote, and I can remote control the lights overhead. I'm going to populate my workbench with the tools that I actually need the most. So I start from left to right in the order of basically populating it so everything fits and it makes sense in an arrangement for my style of working. I'm a lefty, that's why I may have a bit of a bias in directions here. But basically all the tools you would need on your perfect electronics workbench might also be in here, because this thing is targeted at some very specific types of people. This particular workbench, of course, needs the features that I constantly use. But it basically represents the type of electronics workbench you would have if you are an advanced maker, meaning you design your own circuit boards, you do SMD soldering and debugging. And if you're a startup founder, for example, that tinkers with hardware, then this would also apply to you. You could also see this as an entry-level professional electronics workbench. So if you are an engineer early in your career, this is likely a setup that you would consider getting. My first item is a lab bench power supply. Actually, this is a dual power supply. I asked for a few things. I want them to be completely independent, so I can independently set voltage and current limits, but I could also daisy chain them, of course. And the most important thing for me is bang for the buck. A power supply has to have as low ripple as possible. It should be smooth, but there is a sweet spot where you can spend a lot more money, but you wouldn't get that much more performance. So I chose this multi-comp model because this gives me, in my opinion, a very good bang for my buck. And I also got test leads or cables with it. These are 1 meter long. Also by Multicomp. I just got one set for now because I want to try them out first before committing to getting more of these. Just from touching them, they feel adequate, but I might want to get a bit longer ones. 1 meter feels a bit short. It's quite heavy, which is a good sign for power supplies. Need to make sure that everything still freely moves, so I can move the whole desk up and down. This is why also this shelf is up here, so I can move it quite to 1.20 meters, I think, so I can work standing up. Early on, I would have needed this thing direly. This is a de-soldering iron, so it's meant to remove components. I constantly need this when I'm debugging stuff. The one I had was the cheapest option that I could find, and it's pretty much useless garbage. It's constantly clogged and basically doesn't even have enough power to really desolder stuff. So I tend to not use it very much and instead rely on solder wick. But now I'm committed to getting a big one, or I already got it. This desoldering station is already a bit better. Nice trigger, and it's much easier to open and close. So I can remove the solder in here. Also, it comes with replacement tips, cleaning needles, and I think these are additional filters. Yeah. So this is already a much better thing. it has a holder, and I will put this on top to save space in my setup. These little twist ties are a bit of a pain, but thankfully I also got a multi-comp tool set. So those shouldn't be no problem anymore. So now I have to get these out of the packaging with another multi-comp tool. Oh yeah, I got specialty tools. I got big tools for basically the big jobs, and I got specialty tools like this wire stripper, which is a kind of wire stripper that I hadn't used before, so I wanted to give this one a try. It seems to be a bit more controllable. And I also got a small plier set, which is over here, and a lot of tweezers. You can never have too many tweezers, but I got anti-static ones. All in all, these tool sets were pretty good. I used some of these tools, like I got the more basic versions to these at Embedded World because Funnel gave them out, and I used them to build up this workshop. Especially the screwdriver was already very helpful. I basically used that daily, so why not get the whole set? These are the ones they gave away. Got a lot of use out of them. Oh yeah, they even have multiple bits inside. Now we have some of the more advanced tools. This is a hot air station. I already got one, which is utter garbage. Again, I just used the cheapest option because I didn't know if I would really go the SMD route. Turns out, as you've seen on the show, I do quite a lot of SMD soldering. So here we have a multi-comp SMD rework station with a holder for this handpiece. This takes multiple nozzles. I ordered additional nozzles directly with it. Turns out it already comes with the whole set, so I didn't even have to do that. But yeah, this one has a feature I haven't seen on a other station before. It might be very common. I didn't work with like professional tools like this before. So this has a button on here, and this button lets you switch between hot air and cold air on the fly. So that is extremely handy, so you don't overheat your parts, or you just use this basically to just blow away a cleaning agent or whatever. So this is already very handy. Comes with a stand, so I don't have to burn myself when I just put this away. And also what I especially like about this model is it has these 1, 2, 3 buttons. These are presets. And quite often I usually reflow solder with a lower melting point, a solder paste. And sometimes when I have to repair, then of course they would use different solder, maybe some that needs more heat, so I can just quickly change the parameters. Or sometimes I just want to like get the flux going and use a lower temperature overall. So this has presets that I can easily set. And this piece here, this rubber hose, that feels very nice. And that's so much better than the old one. The old one had auto detect, so it would notice when I basically removed this from the holder, and then it would turn on, but it didn't turn off when I put it back in. So it was pretty much a useless feature, and I burned part of my workbench by accident with this. I think this one just starts when you press the button in a short fashion for on and off, and long one to change the temperature that it exhausts. I've just noticed a feature. It has an ESD grounding point. So you can plug this into your ESD safe setup to make sure that these grounds are all connected and there's no static buildup. Fun fact, the floor in here is completely ESD safe. So we are actually in a fully ESD safe room now. Now we have a double feature. This is the Vela WE1010, the soldering station that you've seen me for years on the show. Still using it, just got a new handpiece for it. But I'm also getting a second soldering iron. This one is made by Multicomp. Best bang for the buck I found. They are similar in power. This one has 3 presets that I can directly access, similar to the reflow station. Why do I need 2 soldering irons? I love my trusty Vela one, but this one just gives me a great secondary station for a different tip and for different temperatures. So my main temperature will be set on this one and the main tip that I use, but for all the soldering jobs where I would like to have a different tip, I'm not exchanging that one, waiting for cooling down and whatever. I just have a secondary iron ready that has the other tip and that can quickly change the temperature. That helps me in my workflow because, as you know, not much time to build all these projects. So having to wait for a soldering iron to cool down and then heat up again because I need a different tip is just not in it. I would just try to mingle it or mangle it somehow with the iron that I just got ready, and that might not have the best outcome. So if I have the option, I will gladly use it. Usually the soldering irons and even the de-soldering iron come with little sponge pads that you just make moist to clean your tip. I'm not a big fan of these. I prefer the copper wool or brass wool, for example. That's basically just a personal preference. Both work, you do you. Now this is something I wanted to get for the longest time. This is a real benchtop multimeter, like the one you have in your hand, but a lot better. It's a lot more precise. You can do 4-point measurements. Refer to one of our videos on the channel to know what that is. But I saw that video and know I have to do 4-point measurements at some point. So I want to get a good benchtop multimeter. Again, it's a multi-cop one, you get the idea. I've basically selected the best bang for the buck, plus service. So whenever I buy something expensive, one of the things that I look for is, what do I do if something goes wrong? Can I rely on the manufacturer? Can I rely on the distributor, wherever I got it? So if something goes wrong, who do I talk to? How do I get a replacement or a repair? In this case, this basically was the best thing for me. And this has some very cool features. As you can see, you can measure a lot of different things. It has a fuse directly accessible from the front. There are even replacement fuses with it. There's software with it. It has a lot of options that I have to explore at some point. And on the back, you can even see there's RS-232, USB, LAN ports, and auxiliary signal ports. So you can interface this with a computer, and that is why it lives over here, right next to the screen. That will be then controlled by a Raspberry Pi if it stops resisting. So, and then basically I can control this multimeter directly with software and maybe some additional test equipment that I will get down the line. Cool feature about this benchtop multimeter is not only can you interface it with the computer, I can also control it via SciPy. I think SciPy is the Skippy commands. Are they Skippy? I think they are Skippy. And I can also plug a USB drive in here and just save whatever is on the screen at the moment. So this is great for documentation of your testing journey. All the parts that are now directly here within reach, these are all the components that I need all the time. So every time I get here, I do something, I will need one or more of these. That's why they are always in reach. But up here on the shelf, that's where I put the stuff that I will not always use, but still want to have within reach, so I can just quickly grab it, use it on the bench, and then put it back. One of my first full electronic projects was to build an arbitrary waveform generator. It was very limited, and then I got a waveform generator for my Workbench. I haven't used that very much. You know why? Because it is, again, very limited. It could only produce signals, I think, up to 1 or 2 kilohertz, and just sawtooth, square wave, and sine wave. But in most cases, I don't need exactly those. I need like real PWM signals where I can alter the duty cycle, or I need specific noises, or I would have to have like a frequency far beyond whatever this thing can produce. So I finally got myself a real good arbitrary waveform generator. This one has 2 channels. It can produce signals up to 100 megahertz, not kilohertz. And in general, this allows me to have a lot of preset types of waveforms, but also like signal, like digital signals or whatever. And I can even generate my own with this if I learn how to use it. But this is a significant step up. If you're on the very beginning of your journey, you might not need this one, but I really, really want it. Because I will not always use this, I will put it up on the shelf. And whenever I need it, I will just bring it down, plug it in over here, and just use it. Okay, now we've covered everything that goes up on the workbench. There are still more tools that I won't cover in this that will go up on the shelves that I just need from time to time. But there's one tool I basically constantly use and need, and that's of course a multimeter, and I think that's the same case for you. I got a new one. It's freshly out of the box. It's a Multicomp MP730-624, a true RMS multimeter of course, and this one has Bluetooth. I haven't had one with connectivity before, so I hope this allows me to basically make the measurements, directly record them on my phone or on a computer, and maybe even allows me to like make overlays or whatever for these videos. So I'm very excited to get one that has like a bit more advanced functionality, but still it's a basic multimeter. And I got a second type of multimeter with it. A thing that bugged me with a lot of projects is I had to do current measurements, and I don't want to break up the circuit, so I can insert this multimeter in current mode to measure it. Not even my more expensive benchtop multimeter allows me to like make non-intrusive current measurements, but this one does. So I can basically just let one conductor of an AC wire go through here. Imagine this is just one conductor, it won't work like that. I just clamp it and it will tell me how much current it uses. Also, this has normal multimeter functions down here, so you can still plug in your probes and get readings like voltage and resistance and whatever. But this specific function would have been so handy while I built this space here. Yeah, but it just showed me I really need one of these, because whenever I build machines or I even spec out machines, then I want to know how much current they consume, so I can be sure that I'm not plugging them into a socket that can't deliver enough, or that my wires are adequate, or just how much current they are actually using, so I know when to shut down things overnight. Bad idea, bad idea. Obviously, everybody will now point out that there's something missing here. There's no oscilloscope. How could I do any electronics work without an oscilloscope? Fact is, I do have one, but it's over there on my other workbench, not my electronics workbench, so basically my development workbench with the computer and stuff, because I will likely, mostly, need my oscilloscope at my computer to debug stuff and then reprogram and test again and stuff. So this is how I used it mostly in the past, and I didn't plan in a space for my oscilloscope back then. I planned it in within my normal workbench, but turns out 99% of the time I don't use it here, I use it over there. So I got myself something that I can use here and there and everywhere. It's a portable oscilloscope. Again, best bang for the buck. I usually use a 100 megahertz oscilloscope for all my stuff. This one is also a 100 megahertz one. But it's a handheld unit. It has an internal lithium-ion battery. A lot of plugs on down here. That's because this is also a multimeter. And you can just prop it up. It has its own stand, and over here it has inputs for your oscilloscope probes. So this is a real oscilloscope, just in a portable form factor, so I can use this for debugging in the field for all the stuff that I built over there and over there and over there that I can't just put on my normal workbench or just my computer desk because it's too big, so I bring the scope with it. Recently I had to debug something in the field and I brought a big scope, and even getting power there alone was a big hassle, so now I just whip out this thing, connect it up, see the signal and go, oh yeah, that's broken. Sorry about the white space in the background, I'm just moving in, but we've done the first step by kitting out my workbench. I think this is pretty representative of what you might need for your setup if there's something that you would like to get to like up your game, like I did with like a proper multimeter setup and some handy tools that I just wanted because I needed them once in a while and they would have been so handy to have. There are no super specialized tools in this because specialized tools or specialized work needs specialized workbenches. So if you want to see a workbench setup for a very special task, leave it in the comment down below. Also, you might wonder why I got all these pretty much at the same place, and that's mostly because I know where to get stuff for replacements, I know where to get the consumables, and in case something goes wrong, I know who to call and where to complain about it. I hope this video helps in deciding for your own perfect electronics workbench. I gotta go. There's another project waiting for me, but this time I can show it to you. I've got a million pieces to still to sort. Well, maybe I do that later.